Hello, it's Ed with Slow Car Fix, and today I'm welding on my 55 Chevy. Okay, so I had a little break from it last week because I went to go and look for donor engine and trans and all that stuff. So anyways, I did do some work though. So the one thing I haven't shown yet is that I cut this whole thing out. On my door jamb that I didn't like. It was 3/8 of an inch this way. And I didn't like that, which is about this distance here, because I cut it here, took this whole thing out again, and did it all over again. This is all welded now. I still have a little bit more welding to do on this side. I have a patch to do here, and back here. When this car was hit, it pushed the bottom of this in that much. So I had to slice that and move it out to fit this new panel. You can see that's all welded now. And you know what? The car looks pretty good. The driver's side isn't as good as the passenger side, but I still have a lot more welding to do on the passenger side. So I haven't done this here. I had to do some sectioning and whatever. You can see it's all just spot welded all the way across here. So I'm going to do some work on this today. I still have to move this door back, but the door jamb, the problem was the door jamb on this side was in what I think is the right location, and on the other side was 3/8 of an inch too far back. But you know, it's only a mistake if you fail to correct it, so I corrected it. Took a lot of work, but I just did it all kind of off camera and just sort of plowed through it and got it done. So I'm going to start welding this today, this side, and I also need to, you know, weld in some at the top, and there's welding everywhere. The goal is to try and get the car shored up enough that I can pull the body from the frame, because I think I'm going to pull the body from the frame and either build or buy a rotisserie and get it on its side so I can access underneath and give it a proper going through underneath. And then the chassis, I can do all the chassis stuff separate from the car. The other thing that I need to decide very soon, is what trim I'm putting on the car. I'm thinking that the car was originally a Belair, and I intend to have like Belair emblems and stuff on it still. I have to figure out how all that's gonna go. But I was thinking about 210 trim because it's simpler. I don't want to do the upper window trim, the one that's on the window frame, because I think it would hide a lot, I guess, but it also has to be right, or not that it's not going to be right, but it has to be bang on for that trim to sit right. And the trim's expensive. I don't really care about it. So I was thinking that what I'd do is do the 210 trim that comes all the way across here, and it's a smaller spear. And then I have the paint divider, because this car, spoiler alert, the car will be two-tone. I have the paint divider thing here. I need one for the back. And then I think maybe they sell one that goes, a little piece of trim that goes all the way across here on the bottom of the door. And I'm not sure what that model is. The trim on these things is confusing because you could get a Belair, you could get a 210, you get a 150. But you could get like a Belair that has a ton of trim. And I learned this last weekend when I was doing that tour at Dave's house with all his cars. You can get a Belair that doesn't have a lot of trim, or you can get a Belair that has a ton of trim. So that's kind of interesting. I'm not really sure which way to go. I do like the Belair centerpiece that's wider, but the problem is I don't have one. The one I have is for a four-door, so it stops early. So I'd need to get a two-door and then the N one. So I don't want to buy new, because if I'm making this like a worn-in looking car and I have all new trim on it, it's not going to look right. So I'm hunting around trying to find some used stuff. If you are in Ontario or will ship to Ontario and you have some 55 Chevy trim, I'm flexible on what I'm going to use. So please get in touch with me. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm just going to do some welding and carry on. It's not going to be terribly interesting to watch, I don't think, but I will show you what I'm doing along the way, and maybe it'll help you on your project.
On a run from a given disaster, speed away from the holy mind, pride. That's where I never thought it would matter. If I'm gone by now, all my weakness keep on linger on repeat like it will be my favorite song. Oh, I know I should be moving on, but you got me good, you got me good. I keep on driving till it bends, still it feels like I pretend. Keep on driving and driving along the road tonight. Lost my head over my back between the jars and bottle jack. Just me and all the red lights. Keep on driving and driving. In the heat from a hot California, I forgot how you looked like in rain. That's why I never thought it would matter. If I'm gone by now, all my weakness keep on linger on repeat like it will be my favorite song. Oh, I know I should be moving on, but you got me good, you got me good. I keep on driving till it bends, still it feels like I pretend. Keep on driving and driving along the road tonight. Lost my head over my back between the jars and bottle
Hey, so I've almost got it all welded. I thought I'd take a minute and just talk about welding on cars for a sec, or just welding in general. There's a few things that are really important to any weld, whether it's MIG welding, TIG welding, stick welding, gas welding or brazing. And I have been welding a long time. I was a certified welder and did structural steel and all kinds of stuff. Auto body is not what I'm used to welding. So a couple of things to remember when welding. Keys to a good weld. Keys to a good weld are, has to be clean, has to have a good fit. Position is everything. You have to be comfortable. If you're not comfortable and you're there shaking trying to do something because you're not in the right position, you're never going to have a good weld. Now this isn't a prime example of showy welds or anything, because this is a bunch of different series of tacks all the way along, because I'm trying not to make this panel warp. But cleanliness, and so you saw me going with the wire wheel, and also having good fit. So this side where the panel fit way better than the other side was a lot easier to weld, and it's turning out a lot better. I'm not going to get into settings and anything like that, because that's just, you know, you can figure out your own machine. But cleanliness, position, and fit are just, they're just huge. And wear some proper gear, good gloves. I always wear a respirator because I don't like to taste it inside. I went years not doing that. So I don't like to taste it afterwards, so I wear my respirator all the time. I think I've mentioned this in other videos before. Don't flip your helmet down. Don't do the, I'm tacking like this. It's just not good for you. You're invariably, sooner or later, going to end up with a sore neck, or you're going to end up with flashing yourself by doing this. Just use your helmet and just flip it down. Take your time, be calm, be in the right mood for it. I find that helps me with anything. Just being in the right mood, having the right tunes on, the right state of mind. If you're in a rush, this isn't the right kind of job. Sure, if you're just fabbing up a bracket or something, whatever. But if you're something like this where I don't want to warp the side of the car, I can't be in a hurry. Just patience, you know. So that's all I got to say. That's my welding tips and tricks. The rest of it, you know, I'm no professor. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. And in my experience, that's been the key to decent weld, decent product. So you can see this is tacked all the way along, and it hasn't really warped at all. Like, it's in a bit. When you start adding heat to this, it's going to shrink and it pucks in. So I don't know if you saw me probably in the video, I was tapping it out from the inside with my little hammer, and I wasn't using a dolly because all I was doing was just taking that crown back off. So I was holding my, whoa, hey. So I was holding my hand against it just because this isn't really rigid right now. It moves a lot because that inner wheel well's not there. So I was just holding it with my hand like this against it, and then I was hitting on the back side of the weld to bring this out. I don't want it out too much because you want this to be pucked in so I can put filler on it. So it's turning out pretty good, I think. I also did all along the top of the rocker here, just while I was letting this cool, because you have to tack and then tack and then tack and then tack and go all the way along. And you don't want to get too much heat in one spot because it's just going to curl up in the ball, make a big giant mess for the body fill after. So I got a couple little spots that I got to go back over, and then I need to take this all down. I'm going to take it down with my flap wheel, wherever that is. Here it is. I'll take it down with my flap wheel. I like the 3M ones. This is 40 grit. The 3M ones seem to last longer. If you buy the cheap Princess Auto or Harbor Freight ones, I find they don't last very long. You're better just to spend the money, and these will last 3 times as long. It's just the math works out better. So that's that. I still have to clamp this all in here and then weld that across. So I got to do that sometime. And then what I'll do is I'll hit it with that 40 grit on that flap wheel, and then I'll hit it with 80 grit on my, whatever this thing's called, my roll-lock wheels. And then finally I'll do it with this green Scotch-Brite pad and just give it a good clean. And then I've got some magic stuff that I got to try that I've been told is going to be amazing for my purposes. This stuff is supposed to be the cat's pajamas. This stuff is really supposed to make my life nice. This is Evercoat 889. It's a metal-to-metal filler. So this is basically to act like they used to use lead back in the day. And it will make it so this is direct to metal. It doesn't have to go over an epoxy primer. And this smooths out metal and is supposed to tie it all together. And I'm going to read the instructions and figure out how it goes. But I'm excited to try this stuff because it should, when I grind all this down and take all the tops off these welds and have them all looking like this here, it should tie this into this straight across and take out that little low, and it should make this whole thing look like one straight panel. Now I'm not ready to do the whole car yet, but I'm excited to try it. So I'm going to clean this up some, finish up what I need to weld here, and I see there's a couple little spots here and there that I've missed. This stuff, if you miss a spot, like a little tiny spot, or there's a little pinhole or porosity or some sort of crap in the weld, and it's just not quite 100% perfect, which is quite likely with MIG, that it's not going to be 100% perfect. And it should smooth it right out, and it should make a nice quality panel for me, one solid piece. So then, of course, after that stuff, then I get into the bodywork process, and I get into deciding, do I use direct to metal fill that is that you go over with primer after, or do I do epoxy primer and prime the whole car first? I gotta talk to a good friend of mine, sells body shop supplies, and he's my go-to resource for this. So I've been talking to him quite a bit, and will continue to. He's also my Corvair engine rebuild guy, so he gives me lots of advice there. So that's handy. But anyways, it should be good. And I think this little filler stuff is going to tie it all together and at least give me an idea of what I'm looking at and see how far I need to take the metalwork, because likely I've probably already gone too far and made it nicer than it needs to be for the result that my desired outcome. So yeah, I'm going to start grinding and working and stuff. I guess this is probably a good time to say I'm not sponsored by any of this stuff, although I would like to be, because I'm probably going to use a pile of this stuff for this project. So let me just read you what this stuff says, and then I'm going to jam some on here and see how it looks. So the description is metal to metal is a unique metal reinforced filler that provides maximum adhesion, corrosion resistance, and strength. It sands easily as lightweight filler and provides a water-resistant, impact-resistant repair that will not stain when used with base clear coats. So the way it was explained to me is that it's pretty much like using lead or some sort of, it's a metal filler, and you can stick a magnet on it and it's supposed to work. So I don't know. Who knows? Let's hope it's the miracle drug they're talking about. Kyle used it on his Corvair as well, and it turned out pretty good. So I'm supposed to clean, service, remove all oil and dirt, grease and wax. So I've done that. Use 40 to 80 grit disc, I did, to remove the paint, and surface must be dry. Place desired amount of filler. And then 12 drops of the activator to a golf ball sized thing of body filler. Approximate setting time is 5 to 6 minutes, so I gotta move fast. 75, oh, at 75 to 80 degrees. So it's 65 in here now. It is, just for point of reference, it's minus 30 degrees Celsius today. Probably closer to minus 40 with the wind chill. Not a great day for cutting the lawn. So spread a thin layer. I'm gonna use this thing. I'm gonna use this thing here. I might like to get one of those ones, I know Amazon has them and stuff, where they've got like a wax paper on the top and you just rip it off when you're done and then call it a day. And you don't have to do a whole pile of cleanup in that mess. So I might get one of them for when I'm actually doing more of this. Apply additional layers, building the layer up, building the material up higher and higher. Finish, rough sand, hardened filler to design contour. Finish sand with finer grit sandpaper, never return mixed filler to can. Always store in a cool place. This place is pretty cool. Anyway, let's see what this works like. Once again, like I said, I've never used this stuff before. No idea what it's like. I just hear good things. Oh, look at this. It's like purple. Am I supposed to mix this? It's got all metal flake in there. It's pretty cool. Am I supposed to spin this around some, maybe? It doesn't say I'm supposed to stir it up, but yeah. Mixing, place desired amount. I don't know. I'll give her a little stir. Oof. Look at all the flake in there. That's kind of cool. It's like, it is what it says. It's liquid metal. I'm assuming I'm supposed to stir this up. So then I'm going to take a whack here and put it on my board. How am I going to do this? I am not a body guy yet. We'll get there. Golf ball sized. I don't play golf. I work on cars. Golf ball, basketball, whatever. That's probably lots though for what I'm after. I'm gonna put the lid on this stuff. This stuff was about, I don't know, 90 bucks or something a can, so that's enough. 12 droplets, it says. Do I get a, just work or? Oh, shit. I'm getting my 12 droplets out the other end. That's interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13. Okay, now, get my mittens on, because I don't know what this stuff's like for my hands. And then I'll mix this up. This is probably like way too much of this stuff. And like I said, I've never used it before, so I don't know what I'm up against here. Mix this all up here. I am by no means an expert with this stuff. I've never even seen it before. But it looks cool. It's shiny. Who doesn't like shiny? Oh yeah, me. Let's take a walk. Don't mind me, I'm moving quick here. Okay, let's see. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I already like this stuff. Okay, so I learned some things and confirmed that I have no idea what I'm doing. So when I talked to Kyle last night, so this is a new day. When I talked to Kyle last night about why my filler wasn't hardening, he said, how many drops of activator did you put in? I said, the 12 that it says. He said, that's a bad idea. He said when it's this cold, which it's quite cold today, that I should only put about half what the recommended drops of activator are, because I let it sit for about 4 hours while I welded on some other stuff, which I'll show you. And it was still kind of tacky. I came out this morning and it was hard as a rock. And when I checked with my buddy that sells these products, he says, yeah, just wait till it's hard as a rock and then grind it. He says you can grind it, you know. So what I did was I went at it with 36 grit. Then I went at it with 50 grit, both on a roll lock, and then 80 on a DA. 80 on a DA wouldn't touch it, which was interesting. So it is good hard stuff. I also put on way too much. I think that I need to realize that this isn't regular body filler, that this is filler that's to fill around the welds. So I'll show you where I'm at. I'm pretty happy. I think it's good. I think it's going to be good. It doesn't look as good now because it's not all one color. But I think it's really going to help. Here we are. You can see, so the weld was like this. And now it's sort of gone. Now, interestingly enough, these holes here aren't in the right spots, so I'm going to have to move them. Actually, that one kind of does look like it's in the right spot. I don't know, I'll have to check. I think they're not in the right spot. I think I have to move these, and I have to move these or get rid of and redo or whatever these Belair holes where the Belair trim was, because this is just some random piece of sheet metal. But if you look at it, it has kind of done what I thought it would do and tie it together. Now it's still low there, so it's still going to require some filler. It's helped here. Like I can't even really tell some of where my welds were, so that's good. I think like here where I had it worked real nice, that's just going to disappear. So obviously it's still low because when I weld it, it shrinks inwards, and even though I tapped it back out, it still has a little valley. So it's going to need a skim of filler, probably this wide, of actual polyester filler the whole way across. Now I don't know whether I do that before I epoxy prime or not, but this is miles ahead of where I need to be. I just wanted to see what this stuff was going to be like. So I have a million things to do still. Let me show you what else I did. I set fire to this and then welded it all in here. I know from factory they were spot welded from the backside, but I want this car to be strong, so I welded that in. I also, speaking of things that are spot welded, supposed to be spot welded, that are full welded now, I full welded the floor in. That's all supposed to be spot welded. I full welded it. I also full welded all back there as much as I could. Over here I still have some work to do, but so the floor is the car at this point. It's all part of the car. I've got, what else do I have to do? Oh, I have to weld. I did mention that I was thinking about putting this thing on some sort of rotisserie, or making some sort of rotisserie out of engine stands or some sort of thing like that. I'm not really sure. I'm still on the fence. What I have to access that's underneath, I don't know that I need to turn it to do that. I do want to take the body off the frame because it'll make it easier for me to do the stuff I want to do on the frame. It will also make it easier for me to do like the inner wheel well pieces that I bought. But I'm not sure at what point I'm going to do that. So, and I'm also not sure about a lot of things. I'm not sure that I need to rotate the car. Everywhere I look where people are building rotisseries, they're caging the car on the inside with all kinds of structure and braces for it to roll around. I don't really want to do that. That's a huge pile of time for when all I would be doing is just to say that I put it on a rotisserie. It's not like it's a meticulously restored car. It's just a car that I'm fixing up. But anyways, I am on the fence. Curious to see what you guys think. Should I put this thing on a spit, spin it around, and have a look on the underneath? Let me know. The other question I have for you is, as I mentioned earlier, I think, Belair or 210 trim. If you have any, that'd be great. Also, what do you think I should use? Other than that, I'm just gonna keep welding, and I'll call this a video at this point and carry on with the next one. Thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing. It does help me. Thanks for following along. Let me know what you think in the comments. I do try and respond to every comment. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one.